All right, breaking news this morning. The bill to force the Justice Department to release all its Jeffrey Epstein files. It has passed both houses of Congress and will become law when the president signs it. Now, he says he will, but when and how? Unclear. Now, he does like public signings. This year, we've seen him hold signing ceremonies for such things as restoring the presidential fitness test. That's right there. He did a signing ceremony for the Genius Act, a cryptocurrency regulation law. He signed a slew of executive orders on camera on Inauguration Day, of course, including a pardon for the January 6th rioters. So, can we expect the same kind of public display when he signs the Epstein bill? Let's see. With us now, CNN political commentators Bakari Sellers and Scott Jennings. Scott is also the author of the brand new book, like out yesterday?
Yes, sir.
A Revolution of Common Sense, How Donald Trump Stormed Washington and Fought for Western Civilization. Soon to be best-selling author Scott Jennings, I'll go first to you. Will the president storm into a signing ceremony for this Epstein law? Do we expect the same kind of public attention as is given to the Fitness Act?
Yeah, great question. I don't know. I personally wouldn't expect a lot of fanfare. I mean, it feels to me like they're just in, okay, fine, let's get this over with mode. And so, but I don't really know. I haven't asked them and I haven't heard.
Why just get over it? Why not embrace it as something to shine the light on what all these women we saw yesterday were calling for?
Well, look, I think there's two things going on here. They deserve all of the justice and attention that they should want or should get because of what happened to them. I still am a little puzzled why they and the members of Congress that they've been working with haven't just told the public, what they know about who was involved in this, but that's their prerogative. But at the same time, Trump, look, he thinks all of this has been ginned up to create a narrative about him that isn't true. Democrats want people to believe he had something to do with this when he had nothing to do with it. And at the same time, we are finding out that even after Trump excommunicated Jeffrey Epstein from his life, Democrats continue to remain close to Jeffrey Epstein. But in Trump's mind, the narrative is he is somehow involved in this, right, even though we have Democrats fundraising with Epstein, we have Epstein programming congressional Democrats like Stacey Plaskett, and on and on and on. So I think it's become a source of frustration for him on the political narrative.
But it was the Trump administration in July that decided not to release this after, of course, they said they were going to, and after President Trump was informed that his name was in the Epstein files. Bakari Sellers, to you also, Bakari, I should say, an author of, I think, at least 3 books at this point, including 1 children's books and 2 grown-up books. Great to have so many fantastic authors on the show this morning. What do you expect the president now to do with this, either publicly, and what do you expect will happen in the Justice Department in the coming days?
First of all, congratulations, Scott, on your book coming out. That's always an amazing day for authors around the country when that occurs. But getting back to Jeffrey Epstein, I don't anticipate the president doing this with much fanfare. In fact, I am concerned about the prerogative given to the Department of Justice to scrub the files and not be fully transparent. We do know that there's no daylight between Pam Bondi and the wishes of Donald Trump. And so I don't expect the full reckoning of the Epstein files. The irony is that there are 2 pieces of irony. The first is that the person who asked for the full release of the Epstein files on the political stage was Donald Trump back in 2015. Second, you hear the Republican talking points about Jeffrey Epstein and fundraising with Democrats and communicating with his member of Congress and Stacey Plaskett during a conference hearing. But that's vastly different, and Republicans are conflating the issue on that point, and they're hoping to muddy the water. Because the question is and surrounds the untoward activity Jeffrey Epstein had with his guest on Epstein Island, the untoward activity that others may have participated in, the fact that he was or is the most notorious child sex offender we've had come across the stage in a very long period of time. And people want to know the relationships about him and with him during that time period. It's not about who he was giving money to, although that's a problem. And it's not about him communicating with a member of Congress. It's a little bit deeper than that, and they just want to muddy the water.
You guys are both good strategists and authors, and I didn't even know the books were right behind you, Bakari, when I was calling you a successful author. But Bakari, just first to you, what is the risk if the Justice Department doesn't come right out with these files, if it tries to parse them out or none out? What's the political risk for them there?
And first, Mr. Berman is 2-time New York Times bestselling author. I mean, just to be completely accurate here. But the risk is, we've seen the risk I think we've seen the risk. We've seen the GOP influencers just with the binder on Capitol Hill running out of the White House saying, we have something, we have something, we have something. And then they didn't have jack. And I think you saw the pushback from the right wing. I think you saw the pushback from the MAGA base. It appears the only thing that can separate MAGA from its leader is Jeffrey Epstein, which is kind of interesting on its face. They spent all these years just with conspiracy theories about Democrats and pizza parlors molesting children that never came to fruition. And now they refuse to actually hearken with the true issue of Jeffrey Epstein. It's rich.
Scott, very quickly, redistricting here. There was a federal court in Texas, which for the time being has blocked the Texas redistricting effort. And immediately you heard people ask, is this a question of be careful what you wish for here? Because if you look at the map now, and Republicans started it in this cycle in terms of redistricting mid-cycle in or mid-decade in Texas, but you can see all the other states where it's sort of happening or might happen. I mean, right now, if, and it's a big if because this could get to the Supreme Court and they could reverse it, if the Texas thing falls apart, Democrats could actually stand to gain seats in the redistricting efforts because of what Republicans started. Was it worth it?
Well, I guess we'll have to see how it turns out. I mean, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, every day would be Christmas. I think a court has a good chance of overturning the ruling that we just saw in Texas. To me, though, the real ball game is still what the Supreme Court intends to do with Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. If they toss it, then that could open the door to redistricting in a bunch of states. That could lead to 12 to 20 Republican seats. So I think we're still a long way from knowing exactly what the playing field is going to be next year.
Wild West here, Bakari?
Very Wild West, and I think Scott hit the nail on the head because the most damning issue Democrats have to deal with is if Section 2 gets tossed out, not only is it 12 to 20 Republican seats, but they're getting rid of 12 to 20 members of the Congressional Black Caucus. That diversity we have in this country, the things people fought for, my dad went to prison for and bled for, all of those things, all of that history will be erased because Republicans are afraid to actually have to win voters who don't look like them.
Bakari Sellers, great to have you on this morning. Scott Jennings, thanks for being here. And again, congratulations on the publishing of a new book. It is an extraordinary thing to have written a book and be out there selling it. So thanks for being with us and congratulations.
Thanks to you both.